Good morning, Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. I think it was in the early 80s or the late 90s, sometime when I was in junior high. There was a science fiction movie starring Sean Connery called Outland. And there was a scene where, actually several scenes, but there was one scene where someone got a hole in their spacesuit and their blood boiled. They swelled up like a balloon and they popped. Now, since then, science geeks, whose kung fu is much stronger than mine, have said that really wouldn't happen. But still, cinematically, visually, it was quite a stunning effect. And it would seem to me that that as gross as that is, as nasty as that is, it's a great cautionary tale. Now, I mean a cautionary tale metaphorically. I don't plan on being an environmental suit anytime soon. Here's what I mean. There's a lot of quasi-spiritual paths that talk about controlling our experience. Talk about controlling our circumstances, controlling our body, controlling our emotions, and controlling our thoughts. The problem is that is, by definition, contrivance, seeking to control the arguably the highest men and women upon the spiritual path, those whose literary works have lasted the ages. I'm talking about Gautama, who's known as the Buddha, who wrote the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, or Lao Tzu, who is known as the sage who wrote the Tao Te Ching. Both of these works, written in different countries and in different languages, directly and indirectly endorse spontaneity, a centered spontaneity, where we do not select our circumstance, our physiological state, our emotional state, our mental state. We're merely aware of them, and we surf them in a therapeutic, beneficial manner. Surfing them is not a euphemism for doing combat with them and manipulating. Surfing with them is just like dancing with them. Would be a mistake to confuse dancing with a judo competition. In a judo competition, you're trying to overcome your opponent. In a dance, you're cooperating with your opponent to make the most out of the music and the dance floor, to have a very good time. So it's our job, according to Gautama the Buddha, according to Lao Tzu the sage, to be aware of what we're experiencing and dance with it, cooperate with it in the most beneficial way. But so many people teach the opposite, Don't let people hurt you. Don't let beliefs cause you pain. Don't let people's words cause you pain. You got to be positive. That's fighting cause and effect. We live in an interdependent universe. On every scale, whether we're dealing with particle physics or cosmology, we live in an interdependent universe where everything affects everything else, if not directly, then indirectly, if not immediately, then eventually, if not overtly, then subtly. But everything is affected by everything else and affects everything else. I love the idea that Franklin Delano Roosevelt's wife, Eleanor, was good-hearted and wise. But one of her most famous quotes is really misunderstood. To paraphrase one of her quotes is, no one can make you feel any bad about yourself without your permission. And I'm sure she meant well. But in an interdependent universe, things, circumstances, beings, and things will affect us physically and emotionally, intellectually, regardless of whether we give them a choice or not. When self-help teachers run around saying no one can make you feel bad about yourself without your permission, they are manipulating you. They are giving you what the police used to call a trick bag, a question that however you answer it will incriminate you. For instance, the old joke about the prosecutor asking the defendant, "Are you still beating your wife?" Well, if he says no, then the inference is, "Oh, you're still beating. You were beating your wife." And he says yes, then the answers are you are beating your wife. So it's a trick question or a trick bag. When people run around trying to control how they feel in reaction to other people, they will fail inevitably, and then they'll come crawling back to the teacher who told them to do that, and with the hopes that if they just pay enough money or go to enough retreats, they'll learn the secret handshake or the magic password, that will enable them to do that. When we look at some of the great figures in spiritual history, they all were affected emotionally, both positively and negatively, by other people. When we look at the Christian New Testament, we see that Jesus wept over Jerusalem. Typically not a positive emotional experience, a painful emotional experience. Now, was Jesus somehow failing to protect himself against the foolishness of others? No. He was allowing himself to be vulnerable. And that's huge. Petulant children trying to protect themselves. Real men and real women choose vulnerability. If we don't choose a vulnerability, we'll be using our mind and our heart and our body in a way that natural selection did not intend. And we will most assuredly lose our shit. We will metaphorically explode. We will lose our temper. We will lose our temper outwardly or inwardly through suicide. We will make bad decisions. I've seen it so many times over the numerous decades I've been performing spiritual counseling. I don't want to lose my temper outwardly towards people. I don't lose my temper inwardly to myself and make bad, tragic choices. I don't want to get a hole in my environmental suit in the movie Outland and explode. It's super important that we have a realistic view of our present moment, our circumstances, of our physiology, of our emotions, of our mind, and that we work with them, not through platitudes, not through affirmations, but through the simple practice of mindfulness and insight, or more trenchantly, through noticing and relaxing into it. Before we had ABS brakes, we were told that if you're on a mountain road and you're going to spin, you steer into the spin, otherwise you'll flip the car. We need to steer into the spin of our present moment experience. Otherwise, like the poor bastard in the opening sequence or the first reel of Outland, will pop. And nobody wants that. Steer into your experience. Have a beautiful day.